As a priestess who's finally entered her Neptune era, I have children that are savages. Oh my God, what are they doing? Where was I? I'm sorry, give me a moment. When you enter your Neptune era, that means you have reached the epitome, the pinnacle of your spirituality, right? I call it the Neptune era. That is when, if you so choose to, you could become shaman, priestess, someone of respect and deep spiritual knowledge, teacher. I chose to become a priestess. My biological was a shaman in his own right. I still have yet to tell that story. I'm sorry, I will in due time. He actually worshipped the Norse gods, very much a Viking. We traced our lineage on his side all the way back to the Saxons, Vikings, and all that. So he was very proud of his heritage, and he took that very serious. For me, I took a different spiritual walk. I grew up in the church, and I kind of had to deconstruct from that once I realized there's just a lot they get wrong that they refuse to budge on when they realize that it's wrong. History, of course, uncovers and unearths so much information and translations that, that they have to change some of the things they believe, and sometimes they refuse to do so. Or, when you realize that the church, believes things that isn't actually accurate, or when you realize you can out-preach a preacher that the Bible more than he does, you really have to stop and realize, okay, do I really want to continue to call myself a Christian when it's really just a word? And so I really had to have a soulful moment with myself, and it took a few years, about 3 years, and this was before my Neptune era. Once I reached that point in my life and found my mentor and got to the point where I graduated and became the priestess that I am today, it was a journey. And I say all this to say, though I put women on a pedestal, I want people to know that the power of women and the feminine go hand in hand with men. I love and value men and the importance of men, and they are equal. And I will never, ever say otherwise. I think and believe wholeheartedly in toxic femininity and toxic masculinity. You can have both. I know my history. In the very beginning, there were female gods and deities, historically. So women were given that respect since the very beginning, in the beginning. So somehow it changed. But no one can say that since the beginning of time, women were beneath men and, we need to change that. Because that's not true. In the beginning, women were above men, technically. Women were the ones in power. Women controlled things. But that changed throughout civilizations. So why did that happen? Is what people should want to know, want to study. Obviously, power, greed, the power of women, and the ability to control men, and the weakness that men tend to have when it comes to the beauty of women, the wiles of women, and that literally probably just being the reason. So my purpose is acknowledging the truth of the matter, that I believe the Holy Spirit is a female, which if you look at the Hebrew translations and you go back through the actual historical documents, it is a female translation. And there are deities. I believe in the divine council since the very beginning. I believe that there is one divine God. I believe that he is male. But I believe that God considers women to be equal. I don't think there is no I am above women type thing in his eyes. I think men have created that based on sin, etc. So what I value more than anything is to bring a balance into what I talk about here. Because I married the biggest alpha male you could possibly imagine. And I talk about him a little bit. You know, he was a military guy, alpha male, raging Republican. He's an independent now. Kind of tapered him out. Got him to understand that, you know, both sides can be extreme and crazy. So, you know, you gotta understand that. Always be level-headed in everything. Never be an extremist. But he was the epitome of a man. And high testosterone. Just buff, bulky, manly. You would look at him and you would scream toxic. And I love that. It's hot, it screams book talk, whatever you call those, like romance things. I absolutely love that masculinity that he reeks of. And I don't ever want to stifle that. I want to align with that. I want to accompany that. I want to match that energy. That's what I like to show and support and teach with all my clients, is to be that partner with your spouse, if it be with a man. A lot of times when you're a powerful woman, and I am, you want a powerful man. The dynamics so hard because it's a power struggle. I've managed to successfully create a plan, a rule book, a game plan where you can successfully live in harmony with two alphas and rule together without constantly bucking heads and who has the authority, who is the masculine in the relationship.